that my game was just too strong and she couldn't say no to me.
Hey Ma, what are you doing? Can I see you later tonight?
Alright, so the story of how we met. I was working at a time.
Are you gonna be truthful?
Of course I'm going to be truthful. I was working at a bar, and Alex and her cousin came in. I was working at the front door. Noticed Alex on the Friday night. Thought she looks pretty beautiful. Probably going to get this girl's number, but then was too shy to actually talk to her the first night.
So you didn't say anything?
I didn't say anything to her the first night. And then, for some weird reason, because this club really wasn't very good. Maybe this Alex has bad taste in clubs.
No, it was whack.
But she decided to come back again on Saturday. So then I saw her again. Again, I was working at the front. I'm like, I'm definitely going to get this girl's phone number tonight. She comes in.
The night goes.
Yeah, like the entire night.
Goes.
Entire night goes by. I see one of the guys I'm working with talking to her.
No, it's my
talking to her cousin. So I'm like, oh, that's great. I have an in. So I'll tell him, yo, send that girl over here.
You see how disrespectful is that? Send that girl.
So whatever. Gotta play it cool. So I'm posted up at the bar.
That to me.
I'm posted at the bar, and then Alex just comes over, and I'm like,
let me stop
test
there.
One.
No, his friend was talking to my cousin because he was interested in her, and he was like, oh, my friend over there thinks you're really beautiful. He wanted to say hi to you, and I'm like, okay, well, if this guy can't even come over here and say hi to me, he's not worth my time. Plus, at the time I was living in Montreal, and he was living in Toronto. The club was in Toronto. And my cousin was like, "Go, just say hi. Like, he's cute. Just smile. Say thank you. Say hi."
Your cousin thinks I'm cute?
Yeah, you know she thinks you're cute.
I didn't know
Most
that.
people think you're cute. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just go over and say I'm flattered. Thank you, but no, thank you.
That my game was just too strong, and she couldn't say no to me. So, yeah.
No, I say no to you all the time.
Oh. I was going to hold up her hand to show her ring, but you're not wearing your ring.
No ring today.
Okay, well, guess that.
I'm single today. Anyway, so I came over. And then I asked you a few questions, got your BBM. But do you remember what you asked me? Because it was the questions he asked me that stood out.
Well, I just asked a little bit about who you were, that's it.
Yeah, but...
So you actually start like, most people, you ask them, well, what are you doing? And they're not like, oh, you wanting to go to med school and then all of these things. And I'm like, okay, she seems like a real person. No one at a nightclub ever really tells you.
Well, no, at the time I was doing my master's at McGill University and I was studying neuroscience. So he asked me, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm in grad school. And he's like, oh, what are you studying? I'm like, I'm studying neuroscience. And you asked me, like, what do I want to do in the future? And you asked me about my family, if I have siblings. Like, he asked me all these really intimate questions that people at a club never ask. It wasn't like, hey, Ma, what are you doing? Can I see you later tonight? Because that's what I was expecting. You literally waited till closing. People were getting their coats. DJ had stopped playing.
She had a couple drinks, so I knew.
No, I don't think I had. I drove that night. That was DD. When his friend was like, oh, my friend wants to meet you.
So you were completely...
This guy can't even come over and say hi to me? Like, what a waste.
So you were completely sober, and you still came over, and
I came over to say no.
But doesn't that mean my game's even better if you came over with one intention and I completely flipped it?
I'll
marry you.
No, whoa. Okay.
I did know after the first date I was gonna marry her. I told my roommate.
Yeah, he told all his friends that he was gonna marry.
I told my roommate that night I'm gonna marry this woman. You're a good person.
What was the first thing you noticed about me?
Your butt.
The first thing I noticed about him was his smile, because I was gonna go over to say thanks but no thanks, and he smiled and I was like, oh, he's cute. He's got a nice smile.
You have a nice butt.
Thanks. Is it still nice though after 2 kids?
Yeah, I still remember the pants you were wearing.
Yeah, you just ruined them in the wash.
You're welcome for doing your laundry.
So we were talking, you asked me all the right questions, and then you asked for my BBM, which was good because I was not going to give this guy that I didn't know my cell phone. Then what if you don't like him, he can call you. I'm just like, no. Anyway, he asked for my BBM, and then like 5 minutes later, from like the end of our conversation to when I got into the car, he actually texted me and asked me out for dinner. But was that because you knew I was going back to Montreal in a few days?
Yeah, because I knew you seemed like a pretty real person, didn't want to play games because I thought you were a catch, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to message her right away, show her that I'm really interested in her, and it worked.
But if I had lived in Toronto, would you have like waited, or would you have still messaged me right away?
I have no idea.
I was wondering.
Probably would have messaged you right away. And you said our first date was the worst date.
It was literally the worst date.
But then you still got married to me.
And it was like the only date I've ever been on.
I must have some excellent game or
no,
something.
The date was so bad.
What is it? What is it about me then that you just keep spending year after year with me when it started out so bad?
Maybe it's because I had never been on a date before, so I didn't know where the bar.
You've never been on a date?
Yeah, no one had ever asked me out.
Oh, well then. Okay. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
You've never been on a date?
Never been on a date.
Oh. How? And then you said it's the worst date you've ever been on.
It was. It was the only date.
Okay.
Only first date and the worst.
Maybe it wasn't that bad.
Hi, Gabriel. Oh, swerve. She's trying to come to mommy.
Apples, please.
Come.
Oh,
He's disturbing.
Madison, you cannot pull that cord.
I was never asked out. I was never asked to like dance at school dances. No one thought I was beautiful, really. I mean, I had a boyfriend before, but he didn't really ever take me out on dates. Anyway, if you guys want to hear about our first date, let us know. Leave a comment down below. How'd you guys meet your spouse? And if you haven't met anyone, don't worry, don't rush. Honestly, I wasn't looking for anything when we met. Were you looking for anything?
Oh, yeah.
He was probably on the prowl working at the club.
I was.
Talk to you guys later. Bye. Can you say bye?
Bye.